Hello everyone, I welcome you all on this YouTube channel UPSClogy. This is me Rahul, and today we are going to cover The Hindu for your public administration optional dated 16th of December 2021. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can also join the Telegram channel and Telegram group. The link is given in the description box, and let's get started. The first important article that you need to read for your public administration optional is given on the editorial page, and here if you read the article is talking about the conflation between duties and rights. So the context of the article is the statement by different you can say the ministers, etc. So for example, the first context you can say that our Minister of Law and Justice on the Constitution Day, he was talking about the ideas and some other aspects of the Constitution, and he was saying that if we create a balance between fundamental duties and fundamental rights, basically he was talking about our country, we can only made our country great by making a balance between the rights and duties. Similarly, the Minister for Culture, he was also talking about the duties and other things. So basically, what is the context? The context is that in present circumstances, in the present government per se, the different ministers, or for that matter even our honorable Prime Minister, he also emphasized on duties, etc. and the focus is shifting towards duties along with rights. Rights are already there, but basically you can understand that the negative tone of article is there. Basically the article is criticizing the government for linking the rights and duties by making the duties as the precondition for the enjoyment of the rights. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to understand. And if you have listened to the speech of our Prime Minister also, he was also talking about these things, that citizens have to come forward and they have to understand their duties while enjoying their rights. Okay, so rights, duties, the kind of conflation, the kind of you can say the relation is important. You must be knowing about this thing from your polity and governance, from the Lakshmikant, etc. But here what is happening, that the government is creating the kind of you can say the kind of atmosphere where duties are preconditions. They are like preconditions for the rights. Okay, so this is the kind of thing. So while criticizing or while critically analyzing the things, you can write this thing. Apart from that, as you know about the thing that rights and duties, these are the part of your paper 2, and there you will get the topic called value premises, and values of the Constitution are something where rights and duties are important. So just try to understand this thing, that Constitution, and there are some important lines that you should keep in your mind. Okay, for example, there are things like Constitution. Just look over here. Constitution was meant to have, what these demands overlook is that the social revolution that the Constitution was meant to herald was underpinned by the belief that it is only a guarantee of rights. So rights are something that brings the social revolution. You can link it with your new public administration, because new public administration talks about social change, relevance, values, equity, etc. So that's how the things are, and Constitution is something that provides rights. And if you read about A.V. Dicey under your administrative law and rule of law per se, he was like rule of law. When he defines rule of law, he says that rule of law talks. He said this thing, that rule of law is all about the equality of different sections of the society in front of law. There is a supreme law, the law is equal for all. The third thing is about the you can say that how the rights of the people are the source of the constitution. So basically rights and constitution are very, you can say they are like, for example, when we say constitution is the law of the land, and similarly rights are also important. So rights are very, very important, and that's why we can't compare we can't make the duties as the preconditions, because rights are for social revolution, duties are important. If you read this article here in this paragraph, the article is saying that yes, duties, we are not saying that unimportant, duties are important, duties are obligation to the citizen, that they should do their and they should follow the duty, they should you can say they should follow the duties, but at the same time these are not the precondition. Similarly, the article is also talking about the second aspect. First aspect is this, that rights are related to the social revolution. Another aspect is this, that when you talk about rights, let me tell you this thing as well. Here you will get in this paragraph, when we talk about rights, our fundamental rights that are given in the part 3 of the constitution, they already have different preconditions. Like for example, like reasonable restrictions are there in almost all the articles. Some articles are exceptionals, but at the same time in most of the articles you will get some sort of reasonable restrictions. So reasonable restrictions are there in rights, but fulfillment or the following of fundamental duties is not a precondition, or it is not the condition, or it is not the reasonable restriction in any of the fundamental rights provided under the Article 3 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so that's why again this is the second point that you can bring while writing about this thing, that rights are more important, or we can't bring those duties as the precondition for the rights. Okay, I hope you are getting. First thing you need to remember, rights are for social revolution. So the origin of right is totally different. This is the first aspect. The second aspect is about Article 3. If you read Article 3, it is saying that it is talking about different restrictions, but this duties is not the restriction when it comes to the rights, because right is totally a different ball game. Okay, so this is the second aspect. The third aspect that you will get in this article is about the different historical perspective. You can then bring the historical dimension. If you study the origin of fundamental duties in India, you will find that the origin lies in the emergency period. Okay, so now there is a context of those fundamental duties, and in that aspect also you can understand that even the origin of those duties is something that was that lies in those black days of democracy. So that's why we can't bring those duties as the preconditions for the constitution, because the context was totally like you can mention it as the negative point of the fundamental duties. Okay, I hope you are getting. So these are the things that you need to understand, and these are the things to prove your argument. These are the 3 points. One is about social revolution. You can link it with the new public administration if you want. You can also link it with the AV Dicey. He was talking about this thing, that how rights are important. You can link one aspect with this constitutional or the social revolution aspect. The second is all about the fundamental rights, that okay, rights are there, reasonable restrictions are there, but at the same time there are no restrictions insofar as the duties are concerned. The third aspect, you can talk about the historical dimension. And then in order to critically analyze, when you are saying that when you are saying that okay, these are the things that prove that duties are not preconditional, these are not the preconditions for the rights, but at the same time you can conclude in the positive way that duties are important for the society, because ultimately duties help us to build the society better, or something like that you can mention in the conclusion part. Okay, So this is how you have to prove. I hope you are getting. So this is how you have to analyze this article. Article is talking about this thing, that rights and duties are important, but at the same time duties are not preconditions for the rights. Okay, I hope you are getting. Just try to remember, or just try to make the notes of these things, because this is going to help you in your GS2, GS4, GS something in essays, or for that matter in your public administration optional paper 2. Okay, apart from that, let's come to the second article that you need to read. The second article is talking about the speaker who stifled debate. So I'm not going into the context of the article, and the context is simple, that the speaker has stifled the debate on the precondition that the member should follow a good behavior. So there are some arguments like this is not in the rules. So we are not going into the rules per se, because the rules are not that important. What you need to understand are the different, you can say, arguments insofar as the role of a speaker is concerned, or some lines or some quotes you can remember, you can mug up from this article. So here just read this article from the another point of view. Don't try to go into the controversy that speaker is bad or speaker is not doing his duty or something like that. Don't go into the criticism of a speaker per se. What you have to focus is the importance of debate. So here this article will tell you about the importance of debate from the constitutional experts point of view. Okay, so debates are meant for edification of the people and are in turn influenced by the public opinion. If you try to understand your public administration paper 1 theories and thinkers, you will find that public opinion is very important. If you read Woodrow Wilson, there you will get one important heading, that public opinion is something that plays an important role insofar as the administration is concerned, because it is ultimately going to decide the kind of for example, if you read Woodrow Wilson while analyzing the comparative public administration, he was of the view that in USA the administration is difficult, because in USA we have the public opinion as the multitudinous monarch. On the other hand, in UK, in the European countries, administration is easy, because this multitudinous monarchy is not there, proper monarchy is there, and that's why it is easier to implement the aspects of the laws and of the constitution. And in that context only, Woodrow Wilson was talking about the things that it is easier to write the constitution than to implement the one. Okay, I hope you are getting. So this is important for your public policy implementation as well. Like public opinion is very important when it comes to policy formulation, policy implementation, and here public opinion is something that was characterized as the multitudinous monarchy by the Woodrow Wilson. So this is how public opinion is important. Similarly, if you read other thinkers like Chester Bernard, Herbert Simon, so then also Herbert Simon, he was of the view that public opinion is like the barometer in the organization. Okay, barometer, it will tell you that how the things are going on. Public opinion is a kind of feedback mechanism. So in the context of communication, Bernard and Simon uses this idea of public opinion, because public opinion is ultimately going to tell you that how the organization is working, and this is the human relation aspect, or you can say the behavioral dimension, because in the classical era there was no you can say focus on the public opinion, but at the later point, but in the you can say in the behavioral perspective, you will find that public opinion was important. So in the previous magazines also, in PubAdPedia, we have covered this thing, that how public opinion can be linked to 3-4 thinkers, and here I am unable to recall all those 3-4 thinkers, so I am going to stop this linking over here. Okay, so first thing is that debate is bringing the public opinion. This is what you have to understand. Just try to remember this, edification of public opinion. This is how you have to write the answers in your examination. Okay, apart from that, if you read further, you will find another quote of Jennings in his classic on parliament. These are the additional points. Okay, just try to quote these things in your answers while writing. Like let's say if you are able to link the Ivor Jennings, it is not given in your thinkers in your public administration, but if you are able to do it will help you. Okay, so Ivor Jennings in his classic on parliament, according to him, it is not the control of the government by the house, but the fact that its dislikes are often a representation of electoral dislikes that makes the debate important. So what you have to understand, if you read accountability and control of your public administration paper 1, this is one of the unit, you must be knowing about it. So there you will find that for the executive control, Parliament acts as the one of the control, you can say it is one of the stakeholder that controls your government, okay, or executive per se. But here Ivor Jennings is saying something else, and you have to use this while analyzing this thing. Let's say you are analyzing that role of the parliament in controlling executive. There you can conclude, there you can use this statement that it is not only the control by the parliament to the government, but at the same time it is about the fact that the dislike of the representatives of the parliament is the electoral dislike, and electoral dislike basically means that the ultimate, you can say, the legitimacy of the power, the legitimacy of the government is under threat. Legitimacy is under threat, and this is again is the problematic thing, because Chester Bernard, other thinkers in our public administration, they were of the view that legitimacy is important. Acceptance theory of authority, you must be knowing about this thing, that authority is something, authority should be legitimate, and in that context only Weber was analyzing that authority should be could be legitimated by traditional ways, by, you can say, charismatic ways, or by legal rational ways. And in India we have the democracy, we have the bureaucracy, so legitimacy is there by the legal rational way, by the elections, etc. So ultimately, if there is a dislike, this dislike of the parliament is the electoral dislike, and that's why debate should be there, so that we can understand that electoral dislike is there, so that we can understand that morally or ethically government is losing the legitimacy. Okay, so that kind of ethical dimension, that kind of you can say analysis, you can understand, that kind of linkage you can made with your Chester Bernard's authority, or for that matter Weber's authority. Okay, so this is how the things are, and this is how the control is important. Apart from that, he was also of the view that obstruction, Ivor Jennings is of the view that obstruction is an ordinary part of the parliamentary procedure. So again, if you read Mary Parker Foley, she was of the view that conflict is the inevitable part of the organization, conflict is nothing to worry about. Similarly, in the parliament, obstruction is an ordinary part of parliamentary procedure. So just try to understand this from the prism of Mary Parker Foley. Okay, so this is how the things are. And similarly, you can also remember this Erskine May. He was of the view that in the event of grave disorder, a speaker may adjourn the house, a speaker may suspend the sitting, but he cannot stipulate good behavior as a precondition for the debate, because debate is something that is important. Debate is something that is the ordinary part of the procedure. Okay, similarly, debate is something that is going to bring those electoral dislikes in the picture. Debate is something that is going to bring the public opinion in picture. So just try to remember all these aspects, just try to link these aspects, and while reading these lines, try to read between the lines, try to link the things with the theories and thinkers that you have already studied in your public administration paper 1, and this is how you have to understand the things. This is it from my side. Thank you so much.